I'll never forget the morning the HOA president's daughter straight up stole my ATV right out from under my nose, and for her excuse, she called it a compliance check. Yeah, you heard me. The only thing getting checked that day was my sanity, and let me tell you, it was hanging by a thread. That girl Madison Duke hopped on my 6-month project and tore off down the block like she owned the place. And technically in her mind, she probably did, her mom being the queen bee of our neighborhood, Her Royal Highness Karen Duke. Let me back up a sec, because honestly, my first mistake was leaving the garage door open on a Saturday morning. Or maybe it was moving into a neighborhood with a homeowners association, take your pick. I'd just finished polishing the seat of my Can-Am Outlander, feeling like a king in my own tiny castle, when I got that uneasy itch that someone was watching me. Sure enough, there's Madison propped against her mom's golf cart, filming me with her phone, wearing that smug little smile you only get from a lifetime of never being told no. She had the HOA president sticker fluttering off the back of the cart like it was supposed to mean something, like it gave her special powers. She goes, "That's a nice toy, Cole." Her voice had that bored, "I'm doing you a favor by even talking to you" tone. I kept my eyes on the seat, wiping it just to avoid giving her the reaction she wanted. "It's not a toy, Madison," I said, flat as a pancake. "And you're on my property." She didn't flinch, just eased off the cart with all the swagger of a Disney villain in training. Technically, she drawled, the driveway is Common Area Bylaw 7 Section C. Mom says so. That's when I knew I was in for it. Karen always armed Madison with just enough pseudo-legal nonsense to make her a menace. I met her eyes. "This concrete, I poured it, I paid for it, it's mine. One more step, you're trespassing." She just laughed. Short, ugly. She poked her head into the garage, scanning the tools, the mower, and then her gaze lands on the magnetic box with my spare key. I felt my stomach drop. Her eyes lit up. "Mom says your ATV is a violation." She says, not even trying to hide the gleam in her eye. "Obnoxious, not in keeping with the community aesthetic." I rolled my eyes. "It's in my garage, Madison. Not bothering a soul." I turned my back, figuring if I ignored her, she'd wander off. That was mistake number 3. Because not 30 seconds later, I get a motion alert on my phone, the doorbell cam in my garage. I watch the live feed, and there she is, darting in, grabbing the spare key like she'd done this 100 times before. The look on her face, pure gleeful malice, like she was getting away with the greatest heist in the suburbs. By the time I hit the driveway, she's already swinging a leg over my ATV, jamming the key in the ignition. Not a helmet in sight. God forbid she mess up her hair. She holds her phone up, winks at me, and guns it. That engine roared to life, shattering the quiet, and then she's off, fishtailing down the street, streaming the whole thing live like a deranged influencer. I just stood there, blood starting to simmer, not hot but cold, methodical. This wasn't just disrespect, this was theft. Pam, my wife, comes out, coffee in hand. "Was that our ATV?" she asks, already reading the disaster on my face. I show her the video, explain what happened. "Are you kidding me? Did you call the police?" "Calling now," I told her, feeling that old advice from my uncle echoing in my head. Keep your head when everyone else is losing theirs. Well, Madison was losing hers for an audience, and I was about to play it calm. I hopped in the truck dash cam, rolling phone on speaker. Pam patched in 911, her voice all business. "My husband is following the stolen vehicle. His name is Cole Mercer." The dispatcher's voice was cool. "Are you following a stolen all-terrain vehicle?" "That's correct," I said, spotting my green ATV up ahead. Madison weaving all over the boulevard. Her phone still raised, a rolling circus of stupidity. I gave the dispatcher the whole rundown, make, model, color. No helmet. 16 blonde pink tank top. And here's the kicker. She's live streaming the theft right now. The dispatcher didn't miss a beat. "Units are en route. Please don't pursue." "Not pursuing," I replied, just trailing her at a safe distance. "Just being a good witness." Meanwhile, Pam's pulling doorbell footage, logging into our Can-Am account, tracking the AirTag I'd tucked into the storage box. "Got her GPS location," she said. sending it to the cops. That's why I married Pam. She's my mission control, sees the whole chessboard, the dukes. They run on bluster, intimidation, and the hope no one fights back. Well, surprise. Madison hit the roundabout too fast, nearly flipping my ATV into a bed of petunias before wrestling it back drunk on her own entitlement. For her, this wasn't just a joyride, it was a statement, a declaration that her mom's throne reached every driveway. Karen ruled the HOA with an iron letter opener, fining you for the wrong shade of white, sending Gage, her goon, in a golf cart to patrol the streets. Suddenly, patrol cars boxed Madison in blue and red lights, flashing sirens wailing. She panicked, turning down a residential street packed with kids and dog walkers. She's evading, I told the dispatcher. Willow Creek Lane, residential, low visibility. I pulled over as instructed, watched the chase disappear with a knot in my stomach. That's when stupid turns dangerous. And here comes Karen barreling up in a white SUV, dressed like she was headed to a country club. Pink tracksuit sunglasses, all fury. What do you think you're doing? You're harassing my daughter. I just stared at her, cool as ice. Your daughter stole my ATV. She's evading police. She's getting herself arrested. Karen tried to flip it, waving some crumpled medical exemption paper claiming Madison had a seizure disorder she printed and signed it herself. The officer read it deadpan, handed it back. Ma'am, this is a piece of paper. It's not a legal document. Then came the sound nobody wanted, a high-pitched scream, tires squealing, metal crunching. The officer sprinted off. I followed at a distance, dread pooling in my gut. The scene was chaos. My ATV wheel snapped sideways in the street. Madison crying in a rose bush, Sarah from down the block on her knees, clutching her baby stroller on its side. Neighbors gathering faces, turning from shock to outrage. Karen, of course, ignored the real victims wailing over Madison, while Tom, Sarah's husband, shouted, "Your daughter almost killed my son." That's when the neighborhood turned. The protective bubble was gone. For the first time, Karen looked small. The cops arrested Madison for theft, fleeing, and reckless endangerment. Paramedics checked her just scratches. She sobbed for the crowd, but the old arrogance was gone. Pam nodded to me, eyes hard. This isn't just about us. Let's build a case. And that's exactly what we did. We pulled camera footage from every neighbor on the block, tracked the AirTag route, even found weird online ads for compliance pickup services, phony listings posted by Karen's cronies using fake bylaws to run an extortion racket, towing so-called violations, and demanding $500 to get your stuff back. We pieced it all together, timeline, GPS ads, names. Called Officer Miller, laid it out. The HOA president is running a scam. Cops set up a sting. Pam posed as an anonymous neighbor. We parked a junker ATV as bait, and sure enough, Gage and Gary from the HOA showed up to snatch it. I stepped outside, coffee in hand. You're not taking anything. That's theft. Gage tried to play tough, even shoved me, but I held steady, told him, you just assaulted me, and it's all on camera. The second he lost control, the cops swarmed in unmarked cars, detective sirens. Gage and Gary were cuffed before they knew it hit them. You have the right to remain silent, Officer Miller said, barely hiding his satisfaction. Gary sang like a bird, throwing Karen under the bus in record time. Bullies are only tough until the tables turn, you know what I mean? But Karen wasn't done. Overnight, the dashcam SD card went missing from the police evidence locker. Classic. Pam just smiled, pointed to our server, every video, every file already uploaded and safe. The cops used our backups, and with a warrant they searched Karen's house. And wouldn't you know, it found the evidence baggy SD card and all tucked right in her purse. Caught red-handed. That was the end of the Duke dynasty. In the aftermath, Madison pled guilty, community service probation, paid restitution for every dime of damage. Gage lost his security license. Gary got fined, the HOA board was dissolved. Karen faced felony charges for tampering with evidence, her power utterly gone. The emergency HOA meeting was packed. When I finished laying out the timeline, times, dates, video stills, police reports, the room exploded. A vote of no confidence swept Karen and her cronies out in a single beautiful wave. New board, new rules, fresh start. Days later, I picked up my repaired ATV, rolled it home under a clear sky, feeling that rare quiet that comes after a storm. Pam stood on the porch, arms folded, smiling that I told you so smile. We won not by yelling, not by fighting, but by sticking together, keeping records and letting the truth do the heavy lifting. You want to know what makes someone untouchable? Absolutely nothing. Not a spoiled teenager with a phone, not a president with a phony doctor's note, not a bully with a badge. Power is just noise until you stand up to it. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Is justice about calling out the bullies, or is it about standing together neighbor by neighbor until the noise finally dies down? Drop your stories, your thoughts, your verdicts in the comments. Because trust me, nobody's untouchable when a community stands up for what's right.